meteorologist Mark Molnar with a special edition of Weather Northeastern. Before we get into this active weather pattern, if you have any photos or videos of weather or nature to send in, Facebook, MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also WX Northeastern on Twitter, or you can send them into my email address, meteomark.com@gmail.com. Let's get right into this busy weather pattern. As you can see out west, precipitation totals over the next 5 days. We're kind of toning it down here. This is a pattern reversal. You can see mainly from Texas, where we saw blizzard conditions in the panhandle of Texas, to tornadoes from Dallas, Fort Worth on eastward over the past weekend here. This is not looking very good. And of course, this potent system is lifting to the northeast. You can see it's leaving a trail of moisture anywhere from 6 to as much as 10 inches in northeast Texas, the Ozarks, and extending into western Tennessee. You can see even 1 to as much as 1.5 inches of liquid equivalent, and a lot of this here in the northeast and southeast Canada could be falling in the form of frozen precipitation, anywhere from snow, sleet to freezing rain. Let's get right into the pattern reversal here. Take a look. That trough that was kicking in across the out west here for El Nino is slowly becoming a fading memory. As we push the trough, we make a ridge out west here and carve a trough into the east here, something we haven't seen in quite some time, and that will stick with us at least through the first part of January here, the first week of January. So look for bouts of wintry conditions here across the Great Lakes into the northeast. Let's get right into, first we're going to take snowfall totals. We're going to take snow and ice separately here across the northeast. Snowfall, we will get a quick 1 to 2 inches here across the Laurel Highlands, northern Susquehanna River Valley, maybe as far south as the Poconos, Catskills, upper Hudson River Valley, and southern New England here into extreme northwest New Jersey. But snow will mainly be north of the New York State Thruway, where we get into the Adirondacks, the Berkshires, the White Mountains, even towards Concord over here, and north of Boston, up basically into portions of southeast Canada here. We're looking at a solid 4 to 6 inches, and you can see up here in portions of Maine, in New Brunswick, in Quebec, southern Ontario, we could see a solid foot or more in many of those locations. Up here in portions of the northeast, we're looking at this warmer air overriding, so it will cut down total snowfall accumulations south of the Capital District of New York and of course, the New York State Thruway. We still will get a solid 2 to 4 inches in those areas, but of course, portions of southern New England, you'll pick up a quick couple inches before the changeover to sleet and freezing rain. And as I said, Concord could be looking at a solid 8 inches out of this. Portions of Burlington, probably a solid 8 inches, but it's even further north and east, and even up these mountain ridges where we'll get the foot or more likely. Look at this northern Maine here. This is where we'll get into the solid 12 to 18 inches of snow over towards Quebec City, Prescott, Caribou up here. So especially along the highway system in southern Ontario and Quebec here, you'll be slow going. And take a look at the ice. Ice is a big story here, especially for the bullseye of my forecast area. Right around the Binghamton area, the Capital District, on just south of Capital District in New York State, Catskills, Poconos, we could be looking at a prolonged period of freezing rain during the early morning to mid-morning, and maybe even extending into the early afternoon hours, particularly from I-81 eastward and also from the Thruway on southward. That's where freezing rain will be a big problem across the northeast. And we could be looking at a 1/4 to as much as 1/3 of an inch of ice across these locations. So that's not very good news. That could down some trees and power lines. And of course, we're looking at some wind gusts increasing throughout the day on Tuesday. So this is not very good news. A solid 1/10 of an inch or less here across much of north central and southern Pennsylvania here. Well, I shouldn't say southern Pennsylvania, but cutting off right where the Poconos end here, just run from I-80 on northward here, and some of those ridge tops just south of Interstate 80, extending the Poconos southward here. We could be still looking at a 1/10 to 1/4 inch of ice out of this. Poconos, Catskills, 1/3 of an inch to maybe as much as a 1/2 inch of ice, so not looking very good. And of course, those ice totals, a 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch, extend over portions of Massachusetts, Connecticut, northern Rhode Island here. Closer to the coast, the more chances of just plain rain, and here across portions of northern northern New York State into northern New England, we will still get the possibility of some sleet and freezing rain mixing in. But it's mainly right around that southern tier of New York, the Catskills, Poconos, western Mohawk Valley, northern Hudson River Valley, the mid-Hudson River Valley as well, portions of southern New England here into central New England. We want to make note this is where the problem areas for ice will be. Let's get right into the forecast, the all-important forecast starting with your Monday. You can see mixture starting to overrun the region by late in the day, particularly after 4 p.m. here. We see this light fuchsia colors here signifying some snow, sleet, and maybe even some, probably not freezing rain at this point, but maybe some mixtures of snow and sleet, ice pellets mixing in here. Temperatures really held down. Look at this cold high. This is key to this system, and of course this system will be encountering a lot of cold air supply here from the northeast. You can see only 9 degrees up here in Quebec City and 11 here in Presque Isle. But here across New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, still in the low 30s heading on into your Monday night here. Take a look at this. We're really socked in with snow and sleet, changing to freezing rain. Of course, portions of the Susquehanna River Valley, upstate New York, will start as snow, transition to sleet, and then by about 3 or 4 a.m., heavy freezing rain across these areas of northern Pennsylvania, southern tier of New York, and of course, will change from southwest to northeast as we start to erode that cooler air dome, and of course warm air advection kicks in from the system from the west as it starts to push that warm front through heading on into your Tuesday. You can see most areas changing to rain just south of Binghamton here. Binghamton on eastward will hold on to a period of freezing rain in the morning before quickly changing over to rain, but it's the higher elevations of the Poconos, Catskills on eastward towards portions of New England and into the Adirondacks on northeastward and Ontario, especially north of the Great Lakes here. We're going to hold on to that cold air the longest, whether it be snow, sleet, or freezing rain. So this is not very good news. And as you can see, temperatures holding tough into the 20s and even teens here across northern New England, and 30s and 40s. Start to break into the 40s here with that plain rain. Heading on into Wednesday here, midpoint of the week. We're clearing it out, finally moving things out. We still have a stationary front stuck up here, and of course we warm it into the 40s most areas, so hopefully some of this has a chance to melt, especially that ice accumulation. In 10 seconds, I'll have a 5D outlook for my hometown viewers in Binghamton to Scranton's upper Susquehanna region of upstate New York into northeast Pennsylvania. Don't forget to like me on Facebook at MeteoMark, subscribe to me on YouTube at MeteoMark.com. It's Twitter at WX Northeastern, Google Plus at MeteoMark. Here's your 5 days stretching from the all-important Monday into Tuesday and Wednesday here. Take a look at Monday. We start off sunny, increasing clouds, that chance of a late day, snow shower, or even some ice pellets, sleet pellets mixing in, only getting to a high of 32. That's the key, because heading on into Tuesday night, or Monday night for that matter, look at this. We bring the snow in by about midnight from 10 p.m. to about 11 p.m. We'll start off with snow, transition to sleet around midnight, and then by 2 or 3 a.m., switch it over to freezing rain. So we'll get about an inch of sleet and snow, transitioning to a 1/10 to a 1/4 inch of freezing rain. So not looking good for your morning commute on Tuesday. Although Tuesday morning, by about 10 or 11 a.m., most of the valley locations in Broome and Tioga and Susquehanna and Bradford counties, we switch it over to plain rain. And by that time, we make it up into the upper 30s, near 40. On to Wednesday, look at this, mid-40s, chance of a shower into Thursday as well. That's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern.